So, we've been doing quite a lot of work on intervals recently. We started out with the major and the minor thirds and the differences between them. We talked a little bit about a perfect fourth so that we could understand the way that the guitar is tuned. And then we went right through the major scale and I tried to give you some reference points, familiar songs, so that you could help train your ear to recognize them. What we're going to do today is harmonize the major scale. We're going to move through it, build in a different triad from each degree of the scale, and that will give us our chords in the key of. And this will work with every major scale, no matter where you move to on the neck, it will be the same concept. If you're thinking, whoa, wait a minute, this sounds far too complicated for me, just wait, give it a go. It's not as complicated as it sounds, and it's really useful and something that I think everybody needs to know. It'll help you work out key signatures. Going forward, it'll help you work out different inversions, understand chord harmony, and it follows a pattern that's movable, and you can apply this concept to all your other scales. So we're going to start with 2 octaves of the C major scale. So in order to build our chords from the major scale, you can look at it 2 ways. You need 3 notes, 3 intervals. You've got a root, a third, and a fifth. The other way you can look at it is playing a note, skipping one, playing a note, skipping one, playing a note. Okay? So our first chord, starting on the C, we're going to go up to the third, that's E, and then up to the fifth. That's G. Now, like I said, you can view it that way. You can count it if that helps, or you can just skip a note, skip a note. Now we have to work out the intervals in relation to the root. So I can see that my third is a major third, and my fifth is a perfect fifth. Now, when you stack them on top of each other, C, E, and G, you get a C major chord. In open position, you might be thinking, well, why are you playing 5 notes? That's because some of them are the same. We've got C, E, G, another C, and another E. So we've got a root, a third, a fifth, a root, a third. Stacked twice in a row. Now, to work out the second chord, you're going to follow that same pattern, but you're going to start from the second note. So, that's D. You can either hop a note, or you can count up 3 from D, and then 5. I'll count up. Gives me F. And the fifth gives me A. Now, you might just be thinking, major scale, right, it's a major third again. No, we have to look at each interval compared to our new root. So when we go from D to F, you can see that that's now a minor third. Remember, if you're not sure what the difference is between a major and a minor third, and you've just kind of stumbled onto this lesson, check out the introductory lesson that I did to major and minor thirds. So this minor third interval followed by a perfect fifth. Now when you stack a D, an F, and an A on top of each other, you get a D minor triad. Open position down here, we've got open D, got the perfect fifth first this time, the A, another D, and then the minor third at the top, the F. So the only note that was duplicated in that particular chord voicing was the octave of the D. So if we continue with those same methods, you should find it easier and quicker each time. Let's start on the E. Walk up 3 notes of the major scale. Land on G, and then 5. land on the note B. So if I take a look at my first interval, I can see that that's also a minor third. This time it's on a single string though. Obviously, if you played a minor third here from E, you get the note G. It's the same note, it's just two different places, but we're measuring the same interval. So E, minor third, perfect fifth. You could already hazard a guess, this is going to make E minor. And if you remember, the notes were E, G, and B. If we look at the notes in this open position E minor chord, we've got E, B, E, G, B, E. So the majority of it was roots and fifths, and we had the one minor third, the G in the middle. When you first start playing open position chords like E minor, A minor, C, chords with open strings in like that, and you don't hit specific ones, like your finger might catch that open G when you're playing E minor, and you're like, it doesn't sound like a minor chord. That's because you've muted the integral note, the minor third. It still sound minor if you missed off the top E, because that's just an octave, and it'd still sound minor if you missed off the B and the E, because we've got the B and the E already in the chord. But if you miss out the G, it's just a massive E power chord, roots and fifths. So now we're moving up to F. Remember, we're still using the notes of the C major scale. We're just moving our root up one step each time. Gives me an A as the third, and a C as the fifth. The third is a major third, and the fifth is a perfect fifth. So it's going to give me an F major. Next one, G. Got a B as the third, and a D as the fifth. Major third, perfect fifth, G major. Next one, A. We've got a C as our third, and we've got an E as our fifth. That's a minor third, and another perfect fifth. It's going to give us A minor. And now we're up to the 7th degree of the scale, that's B. Counting up 3 notes gives us a D, and then an F. So I can see that my third is a minor third. Okay, but my fifth is different here. Now, if you're familiar with A5, G5, F5 power chords, you should be familiar with that spacing, 2 frets and a single string giving us root and fifth. Now, when I look at my spacing between this B and this F, every other chord has had a major or minor third and then a perfect fifth. This is different. This would be a perfect fifth, but this is a flat fifth, okay? Something called a diminished. So this B diminished chord is only a semitone away from being a B minor. If it had a perfect fifth in it, it'd be a B minor. So if we put a B minor chord on down here, something familiar, we've got a perfect fifth here. We also have another perfect fifth, 2nd fret of the high E, both the note F sharp. Let's flatten this perfect fifth here, okay? But to make it a little bit easier on the fingers, we're gonna invert these, swap them around. So 2nd finger comes to the D, 3rd finger goes to the B. It's just a little bit of an easier fingering. Now, we're going to strum the middle 4 strings. Remember to leave off the high E, because you don't want to put in the regular 5 as well as the diminished. And that's a diminished chord shape. You've got a root, diminished 5th, another root, and your minor 3rd. After that, we would be back at the octave. C major. Same notes as before. Now, a little exercise I like to do is to play the arpeggios. Arpeggio is a broken chord. The triads on their own, and then play the chord that it creates. Of course, you could do the same with bar chords if you know bar chords. And so on, all the way up the fretboard to the octave. Test out your intonation. But that's it. That's literally how to harmonize the major scale and organize all the chords in the key of before kind of going on to extend them to major 7, minor 7, dominant 7. But before I go, I just wanted to show you one other thing that is a common pattern within this. It's the idea of stacking thirds on top of thirds, and for the most part alternating. So when we did our first chord, C major, yeah, it's root, major 3rd, perfect 5th. But we also know that we can look at the relationship between the major 3rd and the perfect 5th. And that is a different interval to judging it from the root, if that makes sense. So from C to E, that's a 3rd. C to G, that's a 5th. What about E to G? Well, that's a minor 3rd. It's cool because you stack them alternating. So for my first major triad, it was major 3rd, followed by minor 3rd, to the perfect 5th. And then for my D minor, it was minor 3rd, followed by major 3rd, to my perfect 5th. And that is going to be the same all the way throughout. E minor, minor 3rd, to major 3rd. F major, major 3rd, to minor 3rd, the perfect 5th. Now, where it's different, obviously, is going to be the 7th degree of the scale, the diminished chord, the awkward chord, the annoying chord, the chord with all the tension and the dissonance. It's a minor 3rd with a minor 3rd on top. Okay, so B to D, and then D to F. All the minor 3rds hanging out today, giving us all that tension and dissonance that wants to resolve back to the root. Now, if your little musical tits have been blown off, consider checking out the 4-page PDF on this on my Patreon. Chuck us a £5 or whatever you can spare, and I might be able to get myself another hat, because I'm sure within the next 6 months or so, you're going to be really, really bored of seeing this one. I'm not. I think it looks great. A couple of people were trolling me in the comments. I've said it before. Untouchable. Can't get me. I'm in a screen. I'm trapped in a screen. Right. I'm going now to harmonise all the other scales. See you soon.